Share screen. Yeah. So if you want to do the same coding in the local, first we need to clone this repository. So any repository, if you have an access, you need to have a clone option. Whether it is GitHub or Bitbucket or GitLab, everywhere this clone option will be there. For this repository, if you click in this code, there is an option to clone. There are 3 ways to clone actually. One is using the HTTPS, and second one is SSH, and the third one is Git CLI. So Git CLI is something related to the GitHub. So, but first two are unique. First two are like generally for any code repository management. So SSH means first we need to configure SSH key locally and do it. That as a beginner it would be bit difficult, but it's a one-time job again. Whereas in HTTPS means with the username password. So how to do it? So if I clone it and go to the terminal, I am deciding some directory where I want to do. I can open a CMD there. If you click CMD in the path, the directory will be opening there. So there is an option called as git clone and what are the path you have. But for that, first git need to be installed. So if you are in Windows or Linux or anywhere, you can do with git clone. So git for Windows, if you type like that also you can download. Or else if you have Choco installed with that also you can do. Here in the above case, we are checking whether Choco is installed. So Choco is installed. As Choco is installed, we can do it. But the one point is like Choco install, with that also we can install. That's the easiest way. Or else you can go to your, download from this. It's a next installation. Like this also you can install. So this is one way. And in the command line option means Choco install. So Choco install git. So something like I did. I can go to this community in community.chocolatey.org where you can see the option specifically. So choco.install git.install. This is the exact command they gave. So I can copy the command. So what I need to do is like, I need to open a new command prompt. Generally, it expects you to open in a admin. That's the reason I'm opening a new command prompt. So once I have opened it, I give the command here. Choco install. I couldn't type. Can you type Choco? I couldn't type it. Yeah, Choco install so and so. If I give it now, you can see it will be installing. Once this Choco installation of this Git was done, means it is a Git is a software. Understand the difference between GitHub and Git. Git is a software which everyone uses. GitHub is one of the code repository management. So if I do here right now, it will execute. So there are various code repository management tools like GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab, SVN, so Serena Dimensions, like the different things are there. The most common are like GitHub and Bitbucket. So once it was installed, it's still installing. Then we can use the Git software. Whichever the Bitbucket or so and so you are using, everyone uses the same software. So once your software was installed, and you can close the terminal, and you can generally it's a best practice to open a new terminal to work on it. So if you are in any directory and if you want to open a command prompt in the directory, just go to the path in the Windows Explorer and just type cmd. That's it. It will open a command prompt in the directory. That's the easiest way. Now here I want to download. So what I can do, git. So it's a case sensitive thing. I can do like, I think you are touching the shift key.
I'm not controlling.
Git clone. What are the path I have? Earlier I showed you your repository. In that HTTPS, SSH is a second option. For that we need to have a SSH key configured. So that's a different process. But professionally we will go for that option only. But as it is a local, so it's for individual, I am doing this option. If I do a git clone in my directory, so where I have opened, you can see a new content will download. What are the code? So you can see that. You see what is saying? Hey, invalid password, authentication issues. If I do again also, actually for the very first time, it will pop up for us. You see, if I do a sign in with browser, that's the easiest way. If I do sign in with browser, it will open the browser in the directory and it asks, hey, do you want to authorize? Yes, the moment you authorize, it's fine. Or else you should give the password. So, so once you have authorized in the browser, it is creating the token and placing in there in the directory. So that's it. You need not do any action. If you open it, you can see it was downloaded. So now if you see in that browser directory, a new folder is there, right? Yeah, like this. Now you have your code. Now we need to navigate into this directory. If I say cd, what are the file I have? Now, if I do a dir, as I'm in Windows, I can do dir. If I'm in Linux, I do ls command. I have some files. It's a very small basic thing. And let me open in VS Code so that you can better understand. As we have already installed VS Code, there is an option called as code space dot, means, hey, open a VS Code in this directory. Then a new VS Code will be launched. So with the files in this directory. So if you click this select, so it will not show this pop-up again. Now you want to go to a new terminal for the setup. And so by default in VS Code, PowerShell will come. If you are not interested in PowerShell, you can specify that, select a default profile. If I say select default profile is command prompt, so from now onwards, command prompt will come. So as you made some change, you can close the terminal and you can again open again. So now it becomes a command prompt. Okay, command prompt came. Now we need to use the git commands called as git status and git branch. If I say first git branch, did you see in this directory there were only main? So and git status, if I say what is the current status of this repository? If you have made any changes locally or anything, it will come. It is saying it is clean, nothing is there. Now if you are in this directory, you want to get the latest code. Git pull, here this is a command, origin. Origin means from where. So this is the standard command. See here, origin slash main is there, right? That's the default branch it will happen. So git pull origin main. If I say from the main branch only, it will pull the latest code. It is saying that I have up to date latest code. I don't have any other things because you didn't create. So in your repository, were there any other things here? If I see, there is no other code. You have created only one branch. But if you are making your changes, you can push it. So daily you are learning. Say today is some class 5. You want to work on it. So what you can do? You can say like your own repository, git checkout. You know, if you want to switch from branch to branch, this is checkout. As the branch is not there, so for the first time you do -b. Subsequently, you need not do. You are creating class 05 is a branch. Now, if I say git branch, did you see now two branches were there? And the active branch is class 5. You create some files and you can push. So if you create something, say like a underscore hello dot py. So you wrote like, print of hello world. Now you made some changes. If I say git status, what are the changes were there? You can see it is saying that there were one untracked file. So if I do git add so and so, now if I say again, so now it is saying that one change is changed and it is ready to go. If you want to first push anything, first we need to create a bundle. Just imagine like, you are in a mud field. There is a lot of individual pebbles, mud and everything. You need to first know what all things you want to make. So you made ready by adding. Then you need to make them bundle. For that we create like a commit. When you're creating a commit, what changes you did, you need to write. Say first file. If I do like a git commit so and so, then it will create. So now if I say git status, bundle was ready, but the code will not go yet. The last command you need to do is git push. So as it is like a origin, to which one? To your class 05. Sir, we created a main branch. Why you are pushing to class 5? Because it's like separate branches. So if you from one branch, if you want to merge to another branch, that should be done in the browser. Assume like that. So everything you need to push to your branch. So you check it out and you are making the changes to your branch. Now to list these commands in one shot, first you did a git clone. So the clone URL. So HTTP URL, right? HTTPS URL. Then like, so git branch I told just to show the list of branches. Then like you have seen the git status to know the current status. Then like you did a git checkout -b. So branch name. It's the best practice not to have a white space or anything. Even hyphen is fine. So to create new branch and checkout. So this is how you do. So this is how you do. Now you did some changes. After that, if you want to see the status, git status we did. After seeing the status, you want to add the files. So to add the files, so what we need to do? So git add the file name or a folder, file or folder, whichever is. You give like that, it will add as it is. There are better ways of adding also, but I don't want to tell them at this stage. So after adding all of them, we need to do a git commit -m, say commit message. What are these? What is this files related to? You have done something like added a new feature or like added some things. You can mention that. Then finally git push origin to your branch. So branch name. So then it will go to that branch. After doing this, in the UI, you can give a pull request. You see the changes were done. Now you have two branches. The code should go from one branch to another. So the best practice is to give a pull request. So what is this pull request? Means from your branch, you have some code. You are telling the higher branch to pull from you. Actually, the same thing can also be called as a push request also. So the namings is slightly different in a GitLab and a GitHub. Generally, we call pull request because you are requesting to pull. The main branch is like the higher hierarchy. Just imagine in real time, we will have like multiple branches. So here it is mentioning from your class 5 to main branch. What are the files are there? Any message that you want to say. So file related description, anything. Then you create a pull request. When you are giving a pull request in real time, you will have multiple stakeholders. So you will add some reviewers also. At this moment, you don't have any reviewers. So that's why things are very simple. But in generally, what happens? People will come and review your code. If they want to see your code changes, if they click on the file changes, they can see what files are there. And they can see what many files are changed, newly added, any changes, everything in one place. Based upon that, they can do an approval. So, when you're reviewing also, they can say, hey, you need to add something. They can block. Or if everything is done, then we can merge it. As you are in a single person in this repository, it's very simple, but slowly things will become complicated. So requires approvals, it was mentioned, right? We can add some rules here, like you can add more people and do it. So at this moment, you don't have anything. So you can do a merge. When you are merging itself, you can write a merge message. And if you say confirm merge, now we see, so the code will be in two branches. If you come back to your scene, there are two branches, main and your class. And what are the changes you have done right now? So they were into the main branch. Just now you added. And earlier you added some changes some 10 hours back. So that file's also there. This file's also there in main. So whereas in your branch, so class 5, what are the changes you did today? So the existing ones and you did. So like that, this is the branching strategy works. So if you have some other repository also, this is the same way you need to copy. If you just do a Google, so means like you are doing, say, I want to work on some repository. If I give like a repository to help you understand, and if you want to pull the data from that repository, maybe like some sample repository, I'm going something into, AWS cloud. If I click, so when you're searching also, it says whether you want to search within the Git or like in that repository. Whenever I'm making a search, it is saying like all Git, right? Or if you click on a repository and you want to search within it, that is also possible. I have some repositories, some templates, or like let me go for some ETLs, say Python, Python Avsum. There is something called as Avsum Python or Avsum these things. Avsum means like they will have a list of all the things related to Python. And similarly, Avsum Node.js, Avsum AWS, like that Avsum they write. They will make a list of all the things that we can do with this. So this repository is there, you want to clone it. The same process, you copy this path and you can go to their directory where you want to do. Again, here only I want to do. So I did a CMD, it will open a prompt and I do a git clone so and so. If it is a private repository, they need to give you the access. If it is public, you can directly download. Did you see a new folder was created? So like that, anything you can download and assume that you don't have anything. So there is an alternative way using the zip also. Using zip we can download, but it will create a zip folder. You cannot work and contribute to it. If you just want to download, you can do like this also. So these are the different ways. Hope it's clear about what is a Git, how to use it, how to clone locally, and how to use it. Then like coming to our case, our Git repository, how to use and how to clone it again. So in the same fashion, so we need to first log into our branch and do it. In the same lines, if you are coming to our repository is somewhere. And first of all, if you see any repository, there are three things you need to understand. If you are interested in some repository and if you want, it's a good repository, and you can do a star. Same like, how you do a likes in a Facebook photos. In the same fashion here, like starring means you liked it. Such that afterwards you can just go to your profile and say like your stars. Means who are the favorites you have done. So you can check afterwards. That's easy. And similarly, if you want to create a similar project on your own, you can do a fork. That is not at this stage. So let's say someone has created a project. You want to clone from there and you want to continue in a different way. So that's where you fork is there. But watcher is what? Say in this particular project, if some things are happening, you want to be aware of what are all things happening. You can say. So there are different ways. Do you want for all activities, or if someone mentions your name? So, hey, I want for all activities, I want to be watcher. I can click it. So at this moment, for this project, there are two watchers and one stars. And you see how to clone this file and how to add it. So don't touch this particular thing because it's not your code. Just you can do a read only, sorry. So read only means like you can take a copy and you can work on it. So when you are working, what is the process? Again, the same thing. So if you want to clone locally, so go to the directory and you can just take, so git clone so and so. If you give it, it will clone the entire file structure. What is saying? Hey, this folder structure is already there because you also created with the same name. Then you can say like, maybe one more directory because you also created the same name. You can create another folder like maybe read only or something. And within that you can do. So I can go to the command prompt again here. So I do a git clone the path. So why I couldn't clone earlier? Because you also have a git repository with that name. So I also gave a repository with that name. Now for this file, so I can just see what's our content is there. And if you want to open it, just open the command prompt again. And if you say code hyphen dot, you can see entire our code. Whatever we have discussed it till now, everything is there. But don't touch these files. So because this is your single source of truth, right? Just read from it, but you can do on your own. I recommend you to write every line on your own such that you will not forget. So that is how it works. And whenever you are using a Git, told the basic Git setup, like, we can go to the extensions. Same like in code space also, they are doing VS Code only. Here also VS Code only. So generally, the most basic things are like, Python related. So extensions you need to have. It's the best practice. If you don't do also, by default, when you're working, it will tell. You see, better to follow the Microsoft one because Microsoft has like more nearer thing. Now the creator of Python called as Guido Van Rossum, he was with Microsoft right now. And also Microsoft is doing a lot of things these days lately. So fine. With this, the basic introduction about the Git to the local setup and everything was done. Yeah. But like I would recommend you all to go better to do in the code space itself rather than doing locally. The reason is simple. So they are offering a free version. You can make use of it. At the same time, there is one unique advantage that you can get. If you see your profile, if I open your profile, for anyone who is working on the Git, they will have some kind of, marks. Means like how much kind of activity you have done. When you're applying for the jobs and others, it would be one of the point to, help you to filter you, I would say. What are the activities you are doing locally also works on it. But every time you need to push, right? The code changes. Whereas if you are doing here, so in a Git code space, what are the changes you are doing? You will definitely push it at the end of your work. So then like most amount of Git activity, whatever activity you're doing, so instead of doing locally, you do here. But one problem is like you need to getting to accustomed to it. But I would say that if you are doing for a couple of days, things would be easy.